The Antiques Roadshow episode stopped my heart. There was my nephew Brandon on national television, holding my father's World War II compass. "Found this in my uncle's attic," he told the appraiser. "He's in a nursing home now. Dementia. Doesn't remember anything." The appraiser's eyes lit up. "This is Eisenhower's personal compass, gifted to your uncle's father. Worth at least $75,000. Brandon smiled for the cameras while I sat in my dementia ward room, perfectly lucid, watching him sell my father's legacy. What Brandon didn't know was that every piece in my World War II collection had a microscopic GPS tracker, installed by my old OSS buddy. The same technology we'd helped develop for Cold War operations. My nephew thought he was robbing a senile old man. He was actually robbing a former intelligence officer who'd spent 40 years perfecting the art of the trap. Welcome to the channel where karma comes for those who prey on the elderly. Hit subscribe if you believe stolen valor deserves justice. Let me tell you how I caught my nephew red-handed from my nursing home bed. My name is William Bill Harper, 89 years old, Master Sergeant retired, veteran of 3 wars. My father landed at Normandy. My brother died at Iwo Jima. I served in Korea and did 3 tours in Vietnam. Between us, we accumulated a collection worth more than money. Pieces of history, each with blood and stories attached. The collection started with my father, Captain James Harper, 82nd Airborne. He brought back Eisenhower's compass, gifted personally after D-Day. Rommel's field glasses from Afrika Korps, a Luger taken from a captured SS colonel. Each piece authenticated, documented, with letters of provenance. After he died in 1976, I became the keeper of our family's war legacy. I added my own pieces. A North Vietnamese general's sidearm, Viet Cong tunnel maps, a Chinese bugle from Korea, my brother's effects from the Pacific, his Medal of Honor, posthumously awarded Japanese sword from an officer he'd killed defending his position. 50 years of collecting, carefully preserved, regularly appraised. Total value, over $400,000. But to me, priceless. In 1987, after a series of thefts from military museums, I got paranoid. My OSS buddy from Vietnam, Charlie Morrison, had gone private sector, developing surveillance tech. "Bill, I can protect your collection," he promised. We spent a weekend installing microscopic trackers in every piece. GPS wasn't public then, but Charlie had connections. Military satellites, off-the-books access. Each tracker no bigger than a grain of rice, powered by motion, broadcasting location. I never told anyone about the trackers. Not my wife before she passed. Not my daughter Lisa. Certainly not my nephew Brandon. It was my secret insurance policy. For 30 years, those trackers sat silent, waiting. I checked them monthly, replacing batteries, updating tech as Charlie. Improved designs. By 2020, they were 4th generation, solar-powered, broadcasting to an app on my phone. Old habits from intelligence work. Always have a backup plan. Brandon was my sister's boy. She died young cancer at 45. I helped raise him, paid for his college, tried to be the father he never had. Ungrateful from the start. Expected money, resented having to work for it. Dropped out of college twice, failed at every job. Always someone else's fault. He discovered my collection during Thanksgiving 2019. I was showing my great-grandkids, teaching them history. Brandon's eyes lit up differently. Not interest in stories. Interest in dollar signs. Started asking questions. "These insured, Uncle Bill? Where do you keep the documentation? Ever think about selling?" After my wife died in 2020, I moved to Sunshine Gardens Retirement Community. Nice place, independent living, but Brandon convinced everyone I needed supervision. Started visiting weekly, always interested in my junk, as he called it. "Uncle, Bill, This stuff is just gathering dust. Let me help you organize it. I knew what he wanted. Saw the greed in his eyes, so I started the act. Forgot his name occasionally. Repeated stories. Misplaced items. Classic early dementia signs. The staff bought it. Moved me to memory care wing. Brandon got power of attorney for my own good. He had no idea I'd spent 1979 to 1983 in psychological operations, running disinformation campaigns. Acting confused was child's play compared to convincing Viet Cong we'd abandoned positions we actually held. By 2023, Brandon thought I was completely gone. Would talk about me like I wasn't there. He's got maybe a year left, he told his girlfriend during a visit. Then all this military crap is mine. Already got buyers lined up. I sat there, drooling slightly for effect, while memorizing every word. The trackers in my collection were about to earn their keep. It started small. Brandon took my father's Purple Heart, claimed he was getting it cleaned, never came back. The tracker showed it at a pawn shop in Denver. Next visit, he grabbed 3 medals, said he was having them framed for my room. They went to an online dealer in Phoenix. Each theft carefully documented by GPS, screenshots saved to my cloud account. The nursing staff noticed items missing, but Brandon had an answer for everything. Uncle Bill keeps giving things away to other residents. I'm storing them safely. The staff, overworked and understaffed, believed him. Who suspects a devoted nephew visiting his elderly uncle? Meanwhile, my collection was disappearing piece by piece. I kept detailed records. Every item taken, date and time, where it went. Brandon was smart enough not to sell locally. Used fake names, different states, cash transactions. But the trackers didn't lie. Eisenhower's compass went to a dealer in Las Vegas. Raumel's field glasses to auction house in Dallas. My brother's Medal of Honor to private collector in Seattle. Each piece spreading across the country like scattered ashes. The hardest part was staying quiet. Watching Brandon smile, kiss my forehead, play the loving nephew while robbing me blind. Don't worry, Uncle Bill. I'm taking care of everything, he'd say. The staff praised him. You're so lucky to have Brandon. He's here every week. If only they knew he came to shop in my room like it was his personal store. By Christmas 2023, he'd taken 30 pieces, over $200,000 worth. The GPS app on my phone looked like a constellation dots across America, marking my family's legacy. Brandon got cocky, started taking multiple items per visit. Brought a backpack, claimed it had treats for me. Left with it full of my father's war trophies. The Antiques Roadshow episode was Brandon's biggest mistake. He couldn't resist the spotlight, the chance to be on TV. Took 5 pieces to the Austin taping. My father's Eisenhower compass, a signed photo of Patton, Nazi ceremonial dagger, Japanese officer's sword, and my Purple Heart from Vietnam. Told them he'd inherited them from his uncle who'd recently passed. I watched from the day room, other residents asleep around me. Brandon played the grieving nephew perfectly. Uncle Bill was a hero. 3 wars. I wish he could see this, but dementia took him before his body gave out. The appraiser was impressed. This collection is museum quality. The Eisenhower compass alone is worth $75,000. The full set, probably $150,000. Brandon's face on that HD screen was pure greed, already spending the money in his mind. The other residents thought I was crying from confusion. Really, I was crying. From rage, my father earned that compass in blood. I earned that Purple Heart with shrapnel still in my shoulder. Now they were props in Brandon's performance, but Brandon made a crucial error. Antiques Roadshow requires documentation for authentication. He forged letters of provenance, claimed I'd given them to him before dementia, even created fake death certificate, dated 2 weeks prior. Federal crime, forging military documents. Another federal crime, interstate fraud. The FBI takes both very seriously. I called my lawyer that night. Tom Rodriguez, former JAG, handled my will. Tom, I need you to watch something. Sent him the episode, the GPS tracking data, everything. His response was immediate. Bill, this is grand theft and fraud. We're calling the FBI tomorrow. The trap I'd set 36 years ago was about to spring. FBI Special Agent Sarah Kim didn't believe it at first. Mr. Harper, you're saying you've been tracking stolen military memorabilia for months? I showed her the GPS app, the documented thefts, the Antiques Roadshow footage. Her skepticism turned to amazement. You've built a perfect case. Why didn't you report this earlier? Wanted to see how far he'd go, I told her. Needed ironclad evidence. 1 or 2 missing items. He claims confusion. 30 items across 15 states. That's a federal case. She nodded, understanding the long game. You were intelligence, weren't you? Smart agent. Recognized the patience of a trained operative. The FBI moved fast. Brandon had scheduled the items from Antiques Roadshow for auction. Would net him $150,000 minimum. The auction was in 3 days. Agent Kim got warrants, coordinated with multiple agencies. The plan, let the auction proceed, catch Brandon with the money, wire fraud, transportation of stolen goods, forgery. Enough charges for serious federal time. Meanwhile, Brandon visited me, gloating subtly. Uncle Bill, saw some of your old stuff on TV. People really value that military junk. I played confused, asked about lunch. He patted my hand condescendingly. You just rest, Uncle. I've got everything handled. The arrogance of a man who thought he'd already won. Tom Rodriguez worked on the legal side. Power of attorney revoked based on fraud. Estate frozen. Documentation prepared showing I was mentally competent. The nursing home's own doctor, when presented with evidence, admitted I showed no actual signs of dementia. He fooled us all, she said. No, Brandon fooled himself. Auction day. February 15th, 2024. I watched on FBI laptop from my room. Brandon in a new suit, confident, shaking hands with buyers. The Eisenhower compass started bidding at $50,000. Rommel's glasses at $30,000. My brother's Medal of Honor at $40,000. Each bid another nail in Brandon's coffin. Final total, $287,000. Brandon could barely contain his joy. Signed papers, shook hands, received wire transfer confirmation. The moment the money hit his account, FBI agents moved in. Brandon Mitchell, you're under arrest for interstate fraud, theft of military decorations, elder abuse, and forgery. His face went from triumph to terror in seconds. They arrested him in the auction house lobby. Cameras rolling, crowd watching. The same need for attention that brought him to Antiques Roadshow became his humiliation. There's been a mistake, he shouted. My uncle is dead. He has dementia. Agent Kim smiled. Your uncle is watching this live, Mr. Mitchell. He says hello. The auction house, horrified at selling stolen goods, immediately voided all sales. Buyers, mostly legitimate collectors, were understanding. Many were veterans themselves, disgusted by Brandon's betrayal. One collector, a Marine veteran, said it perfectly. Stealing from a veteran with dementia? There's a special place in hell for that. Brandon's girlfriend, who'd been spending anticipated money, dumped him immediately. His employer fired him. His apartment, lease in my name from power of attorney abuse, evicted him. In one day, Brandon lost everything. The money he'd stolen over months, gone in hours. The FBI froze his accounts, seized his assets. Complete reversal of fortune. Recovering my collection took months. Items scattered across the country, some already resold. But the trackers never lied. FBI followed each signal, recovered every piece. Some buyers fought it, but federal warrant trumps. Purchase receipt. By June 2024, all 50 stolen pieces were home. The nursing home, embarrassed by their failure, offered free residence for life. I declined. Moved to a veterans community instead, where they understand that age doesn't mean stupidity. Where? My collection is displayed in a secured, climate-controlled room, where other veterans share their own stories, their own treasures. Brandon pled guilty to avoid trial. 5 years federal prison, 3 years probation, restitution of $287,000 plus damages. He'll be 45 when released, a felon with no inheritance coming. I removed him from my will the day of arrest. Everything goes to the Veterans Museum now, with my story of how it was almost lost to greed. During sentencing, Brandon tried to apologize. "Uncle Bill, I'm sorry. I thought you didn't know anymore. I stood all 89 years of me, straight as the day I made Master Sergeant. I knew every second, Brandon, every theft, every lie. You didn't steal from a confused old man. You stole from a soldier who spent his life defending ungrateful people like you." The judge, a veteran himself, added enhancement for elder abuse and abuse of position of trust. Brandon got maximum sentence. As they led him away, he looked back once. I didn't give him the satisfaction of eye contact. He was already forgotten, a footnote in my family's story. After Brandon's conviction, word spread through the veterans community. Other elderly vets came forward with similar stories. Family members stealing medals, selling memorabilia, claiming dementia to access benefits. We formed a support group, then an organization. Veterans Asset Protection, helping elderly vets protect their legacy from predatory relatives. We use my tracker system as a model. Charlie Morrison, now 84, but still sharp, helps install them. Lawyers volunteer to check power of attorney documents. FBI agents train staff to recognize elder abuse. What started as my personal trap became a nationwide network protecting thousands. Of Veterans. The Antiques Roadshow episode still airs in reruns. They added a disclaimer about the items being stolen, Brandon being evicted. It serves as a warning. Military memorabilia has stories, and sometimes those stories include GPS trackers and FBI surveillance. The appraiser later told me he suspected something was off. Nobody with dementia keeps items in such perfect condition. My collection is now in a museum, but I retain possession until death. School groups visit, hear the stories. Not just war. Stories, the story of how they were almost lost to greed. How a nephew betrayed trust for money. How an old soldier fought his last battle from a nursing home bed. The kids always ask if I really had dementia. No, I tell them. But I learned that sometimes the best defense is letting the enemy think they've already won. At 89, I've learned that family can be your greatest enemy. That blood relation doesn't guarantee loyalty. That age makes you a target, not respected elder. Brandon wasn't unique. He was typical of a generation that sees inheritance as entitlement, elderly relatives as ATMs with expiration dates. The trackers saved my collection, but preparation saved me. Documentation of every item. Backup plans. For backup plans, never trusting completely. Sounds paranoid, but paranoia kept me alive through 3 wars and 1 greedy nephew. The skills that helped me survive combat helped me survive family betrayal. I still have the trackers active. Museum security is good, but I trust my own systems more. Check them weekly on my phone. Little dots on a map, each representing a piece of my family's service. Brandon's in federal prison in Texas. I track him too, through the Bureau of Prisons. Website: inmate number 478320078. His location never changes. My advice to other veterans: document everything. Install security beyond locks. Create legal protections before you need them. And if family starts showing unusual interest in your possessions, remember they might be planning your funeral while you're still breathing. Trust but verify, especially with those who call you uncle. My name is William Harper. I survived World War II's aftermath, Korea's frozen hell, Vietnam's jungles, and my nephew's breed. The first three tried to kill my body. The last tried to kill my legacy. All failed because I learned long ago that the best ambush is the one your enemy walks into thinking they've already won. Brandon thought he was stealing from a senile old man. He was stealing from someone who spent decades in military intelligence, who helped develop surveillance technology, who planted tracking devices when Reagan was president. He confused age with weakness, silence with ignorance. Costly mistakes in any battle. My father's compass points true north. It also points to a storage unit in Austin where Brandon kept stolen goods. Rommel's field glasses let you see distant objects. They also transmitted their location every 12 hours for 36 years. My brother's Medal of Honor represents ultimate sacrifice. It also contained a tracker that led the FBI to Brandon's biggest buyer. Every piece in my collection tells two stories now: the original war story and the story of how it was recovered from a family thief. The second story might be more important. It shows that elderly doesn't mean helpless, that veterans don't stop fighting just because they're in nursing homes, that sometimes the greatest battle is against those who should love you most. Brandon gets out in 2029. I'll probably be gone by then. But my collection will be in the museum, protected, tracked, telling its stories, including the story of the nephew who tried to steal history and got caught by technology he couldn't understand, patience he couldn't match, and a trap set before he was even born. Rangers lead the way, even at 89, even from a nursing home, even against your own blood.